listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network. Now, the largest new media platform on the web and your number one source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Mad Men After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Mad Men After Show.
Well, hello everybody. Thank you for joining us. Bing is for doing, and we are doing another AFTERBUZZ TV After Show for Mad Men Season 5, Episode 9. I'm your host, John Comerford. I'm joined on the panel by the lovely Katherine Tulich of the Los Angeles Times. Hello, please. And, of course, filmmaker and co-creator of AFTERBUZZ, Keven Undergaro.
Hello, everyone. Marissa, where's the Mad Men music?
It's coming. Also joining us on the panel is Phil Svitek.
That's why we have no Mad Men music. I'm privileged enough that we're in Studio A tonight, and so I'm out on the floor, and then everything apparently... I feel like, who would I feel like on the show? I feel like everything's falling apart.
You're Pete. You'd be Pete, right?
Yeah, then you'd be Pete, because he always thinks everybody. And joining us from the booth, of course, is Marissa Movies. Thank you, Marissa.
Hello.
And I know she's going to be looking for that music anytime now. But until then, we're going to talk the show. So today, in this episode, we see Crane go Krishna. Let's see, Joan gets served. Pete searches for Jag, and then we're going to start off with Lane digging himself a bigger hole with the financials of this company. This guy is crazy. He's nuts. He just does he really think he's going to find his way out of it, or is he just blinded by this?
Well, I think he's obviously in a desperate situation.
Oh, clearly, and it just gets worse and worse, and he just keeps robbing Peter to pay Paul.
So why do you say he's blind, though?
Because he doesn't really see. There's no strategy for finding his way out of this. He just does the immediate thing. Oh, I just need this. Okay, I'll just give you. Doesn't even include the fee that he needs. Remember, he only gets the $8,000 that he needs to pay off the tax man from Britain. It doesn't even. Oh, right, the fee doesn't even include. That's why I'm saying he's so short-sighted in his plan for this.
Do you see the irony in the fact that he's the financial planner for the company?
I mean, how is the company going to get out of anything that they're in when this is the guy running the purse strings?
In their meeting with the partners, where's Joan? Oh, she's not here.
Exactly.
They knew because she's the brain.
She's really the financial genius.
Exactly. Joan is the one that. There you go. Thank you very much, sir. So, Joan clearly is the one responsible for really running this joint, and he just looks tragically pathetic.
And I guess also in that position, though, he has the ability to diddle the funds, which other people have done in those kind of positions when they're in companies.
Yeah, and so desperate that he's willing to go out that far, even when it's not even in hand, and then the rug gets pulled out from under him at the end anyway.
Unlike most people, I will give him credit because he was trying to do it the right way, where he gave everyone bonuses.
Yeah,
and
he actually was smart.
But because you had to go borrow money to give bonuses. That's not smart. That's the last thing that is.
In his desperate situation, he was being smart in the beginning, I think.
Well,
the whole thing about faking the bonuses.
To covering it up.
At least he was trying to do.
So if everybody gets a bonus, they won't look at me because I'm not the only one getting the bonus?
Yeah.
Exactly. He could have just taken 8,000.
I mean, so much this is going to come back to haunt him.
Oh, yeah.
And by the way, just all the characters in this are headed toward
disaster.
Doom. I mean, we see the reds in the background. We're seeing them everywhere, and they seem brighter than ever.
Yeah.
In some ways, I felt like this is one of the darkest episodes I've seen.
Well, it was pretty dark.
Speak to the fact you had a chance at the Mad Men premiere, Catherine, to speak with his character.
Yeah, well, we were
him.
You spoke with Lane Price.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had
Richard
some great.
Harris's son.
You had some great inside information.
Yeah,
well, he just said that in the very first episode, there's that picture that kind of
that he found the wallet in the cab, and then he tried to find out who it belonged to, and while looking through the wallet, he found the picture of a woman. And
well, he
kind
just
of
said
established
to me,
a relationship.
He said to me, that is going to come full circle. He said, you wait. He said it's amazing how everything intertwines with each other in this series, and he said even that will become significant.
Right.
So he made a point of that. So I'm
It'll be interesting
curious
to see
know
how
where that.
I mean, to see how, right?
Yeah.
It's a stranger, isn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah, she was a stranger. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just
But he was
through the
quite
wall.
obsessed with her. I don't know. Do you
Oh
is there
yeah, and he
something
kept the
going
picture.
on?
He gave the wallet back, but kept the picture.
He
Keeps it in
knows
his
her
blotter.
voice. He knows her voice.
Yeah.
But he's never met her.
Yeah,
Never
I don't
clear-
know.
yeah.
Maybe he was just leading me astray, but this is
Yeah.
why I believed him.
Yeah, and and
Or is it just say about the juxtaposition of his personality? That he gave the wallet back, but he
Right.
kept the picture.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So is that what he's referring to? But it sounds like there's more to it.
Yeah.
yeah.
the
Well,
way-
he wanted there to be more. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
and when the conversation I had, it sounded like there was going to be more. So we'll wait and see.
So and it'll be interesting to see how he screws that up.
Yes,
I'm
I
sorry,
think.
did I
I
say
think.
that
Well,
wrong?
he did such a good, but he did. Listen, this way, it's a little bit of a surprise to see him mismanage the funds because
Yeah.
earlier on he has been good about being tight. And he was
Right.
very successful for his other English companies, which is why they always rewarded him.
Yeah.
He did all the dirty work for them. He was always the one to kind of strip the companies down, make them better for sale. He was, from what we saw, he was very good at his job in the past.
Yeah, but and that's why I'm wondering why are they going down this road? Because I haven't seen.
I think what I can speak to is that
Yeah.
emotionally,
Yeah.
he was never on firm ground. Remember his chocolate bunny?
Sure,
Remember
yeah.
his fight with his father? He wanted to break away from whatever this lifestyle was.
Right.
And so emotionally speaking, he was never solid. Now it seems like it's poisoning.
So you think because it was never solved in the emotional thing,
It's poisoning
causing
now.
a
So
problem
whatever
thing.
went on with why he owes
Right.
her Majesty, why he owes England
Tax
$8,000.
money, yeah. Expat.
Well, I
Yeah.
think it's also,
Yeah.
the fact that he's, in England, I guess there was some sort of sense of control. There's a lot more sort of social status. There's a lot more sense of kind of being in control
Mm-hmm.
there. And I think he's come to America and there's been this kind of freedom that he's felt. But I don't think he's obviously going down the right track with it. I mean, that's the other thing. I
Right.
think he's kind of getting out of control.
Yeah, and he
in this
really
new
doesn't want to go back.
society.
I mean, how speaking of that, because he just does. He wants to have Christmas in Manhattan.
yeah.
And is it just because he doesn't want to go back? Do you think?
Well, I don't
That
think he has
can't-
a
Can't afford to go back
Yeah.
financially.
Right, sure.
Yeah. But I don't think he has a great love of his home country. But I think
Right.
remember even that there was an episode. What was it? Where he was with his Englishman and he didn't really want to acknowledge
Right.
that Englishness. I mean, he kind of was sucked in the end by the fact that he is from England. But
Yeah, he's rebelling
he's
against-
rebelling
Yeah.
He's rebelling against the whole
I mean, think of
English
the-
thing.
Because in a way
Yeah.
that they were way more rigid than our society, and in the
Yes.
50s, moving into
when-
the 60s, that's when it started seeing the freedom.
One of the most painful scenes that I saw, other than Joan being raped, was when his father beat him up without his
Yeah.
glasses on,
Right.
and just brutal. It was just brutal, and it was just a sign of old English way of life.
Oh, man.
And he wanted
right out of
nothing to
Dickens
do
and
with it.
stuff.
Public
Right.
schools. Yeah.
And so for him to have not only a Playboy model but a black one
Yeah.
that he was ready to just throw it all away for and say,
Yeah.
"Hey, this is my new girlfriend, my new life, and I'm so excited to be with her." And I see him not wanting to go back to England,
Yeah.
not just financially,
not,
but
exactly.
emotionally.
Yeah, and I think that part of it has to do with the freedom and the social mores are much more loose in this
Exactly.
particular
Yeah.
this country as well. And then the other thing I thought was really interesting with the first time that we've seen Pete and Lane in a scene since the fight
Right.
Yeah.
was was when they had their partners meeting, and it was almost like no vestiges of it. There was no. You didn't even feel like it ever happened. I thought that was interesting. They didn't speak to it. They did not speak to it. It was just like it was almost forgotten.
Right. Back to business.
That was very strange.
Well,
They seem to move. I mean, it's always been kind of weird to me how they kind of move months ahead of time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pretty much a couple of weeks ago, we were
Right.
at Thanksgiving. Now we're
Yeah.
at Christmas.
Now Christmas,
you know?
yeah.
I know, but I mean, just in terms of you thought there'd be some vestiges of it, but not that it needed to be. I just thought it was interesting that they chose not to do anything.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Nobody else said that. Okay.
no, and I think Don also said, "Hey guys, let's not have it."
Yeah, because he did tell Pete. Remember when it started? Because I thought they was just telling Pete wanted him to tell him when he's being an idiot.
It's just, to me, I buy it because Pete's so focused on work. I mean, he's the only one that's like, okay, while you guys were all lollygagging, I got Jaguar. Like it seems like he's so driven that to fight with Lane doesn't move the needle. It doesn't achieve his goals, which is to become the powerhouse. I think at the
Right.
office, so to be
And-
super successful.
And he was annoyed that he didn't get the acknowledgement for the Jaguar.
yeah, nobody
thing.
responded the way he
Yeah, no.
wanted to.
Even,
He never does.
you never
I mean,
gets
we
the
could
gratitude.
not to jump ahead, but
Yeah.
eventually Don finally steps into the role that we
That
wanted
was-
him
yes,
to say.
that was
and,
amazing, yeah.
While Pete didn't get that recognition throughout the whole episode, and obviously that was the tension between Pete and Don. Eventually, Don stepped into that role
Right.
and kind of had a mini version of it But it wasn't, it almost felt like we were going there where the lights were getting dimmer. We were just going to see Don, and it was going to be the kind of like almost like the carousel pitch from season 1 all over again.
Mm-hmm.
It was half of that.
Yeah.
So Don's not fully there, but the idea is there. Now we're working here. We're going to be here at Christmas. We're going to be here on New Year's. We're going to spend it all together.
And got called out from Pete earlier in the episode because he said you might have to be here past 5:30.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think we see how Don, like it was the end of the episode, but the way he can rally the troops like no one else.
Well, it's
in
interesting.
That
We don't want to
company.
jump ahead because there's a lot involved with
Yeah.
getting there. But anyway,
But speaking of the past, you can get all your you can get all your Mad Men DVDs on Amazon.
Can you?
You can, and you can get a lot of other things there too. But the cool thing is, regardless of whatever you're shopping, go to AfterBuzzTV.com first. There you will find right on the homepage, in fact, any page, a cool little Amazon banner. Go ahead and click that, then shop away. Costs you nothing extra. We get a percentage. It's very cool. It keeps us going. We're kind of like someone in this room feels like Lane. I'm not going to say who, but they do. Why? Because, funds are depleting around here.
Funds are depleting.
So this will keep us ready. So we don't ask for much, but we do ask that you do that. If you have friends, whenever you're shopping, your friends are shopping, tell them to come to AfterBuzzTV.com first. Then click on that Amazon banner, and that'll take you right to Amazon. You can buy whatever you were going to anyway, but we'll get a little something here to keep the lights on. So
We might get a Christmas bonus if we're lucky enough.
not $8,000 or anything like that, but we might get something. Just enough to keep us going.
Be nice.
So we can keep bringing you this content for free. So thank you for that. So let's talk about Pete and the Jaguar thing. He was really pushing this, and he's been pushing it like crazy because Don said it great. I think everybody in the business makes their bones once they have the car as their advertising thing, and even Pete when he was calling him out earlier in the day, he was talking about how if this was last December, and I'd come to you that we had a thing with Jag, you'd kiss me on the mouth. So two things are happening. Pete's really saying, look, I'm the only one doing anything around here, and calling him out for not doing anything. Yeah. So I think the Jag is a big...
That, and like Megan called him out too. He just doesn't care about work. He doesn't care. Yeah. It's not that...
Care.
So.
You used to like work. Used to like your work. Well, it's different.
Until you met me.
Yeah, and then you liked your work before me, so... So clearly things are different there, but it's nice to see Pete at least got one. There's only one oar in the water at the moment, and it's Pete's.
Right.
It's the only one rowing for the team.
Right. And the fact it's interesting, it's a Jaguar English car.
Yeah.
They're like it has too much power for England, which probably symbolic of what's going on with Lane. And we know, and I'm glad that Cooper said it, but it is known as a lemon.
It is.
It has tons of electrical problems. In fact,
really?
they did all the way into the mid-90s.
Exactly.
Terrible cars.
Yeah.
A horrible British
Even the
engineering.
E-type Jag. That's
Sorry, I hope I'm not offending you, Catherine.
Oh, no. I'm not a car person, so I'm actually intrigued.
Yeah.
The only thing I know is the E-type Jag, but just because of obviously because
No,
of the great
they have
advertising
great
campaign.
styling. They look wonderful. Lots of
Right.
people love them. They're lemons. They just
Really?
Yeah.
And so, more than likely, are they a metaphor for
Well, I think
for this ad agency?
that's my point. Is that in my head, it's all style, no substance.
Right.
Because the infrastructure is depleting, is going elsewhere, is not really being involved. And I think that's why it's a great choice for this particular ad company, because they've got nothing underneath.
No.
They got nothing under the hood. Nobody, only one person doing anything. Yeah. It's like let's just say their wiring screwed up too.
And the salesman was like, we've worked all that out.
Yeah, exactly, which they didn't for decades.
Okay.
No.
Well, that means they did
But
have
of
a
course
good
that's-
advertising campaign because not
They
being
did.
a car person, I always assumed Jaguar was a great car. Never driven one, but...
No.
I have
Terrible car.
friends-
What a lot of people
Yeah.
end up doing with them is they'll put in the Chevy 350 engine.
Yeah.
It fits perfectly into most of the Jaguars, and they'll do that, and then it runs
You
fine.
Can't kill a
and-
Chevy. And
Right.
my friend owned a Jag and had to buy a Toyota Camry or something for how many times that thing was in the shop. So he had a
Terrible
second
car.
It's terrible.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. so
Now,
there you go.
it's different. They're great cars now, but back then, no.
No. So yes, I do think it's a metaphor, and yes, I think that really shows. Even though they're gonna get, I'm expecting that they'll probably get this. I don't know, but even if they do, it's not going to be the panacea that they think it's going to be. It's not going to solve all their problems by any means.
Well, it's a prestige thing they're looking for,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah,
The
but still, I
prestige
mean,
bit. Yeah.
I guess they are prestige thing. So, but does anybody else feel that the whole since we're we can move on, I guess. I mean, is there anything else we
You know,
want to talk about the thing?
I think we should talk about going to iTunes to rate and comment on us.
Oh, all right. Well, that's a good thing. You know, we just rated Jaguar being a great
know.
car.
Right.
So we hope you don't do that with us.
No, and you know what? You guys have been great. You've been going there and rating and commenting on our show.
Yeah.
And actually giving us a lot of constructive notes, telling us we talk over each other. So we've been trying to curb that. But if you guys can go to iTunes, go to iTunes, and go to podcast and type in AFTERBUZZ TV Mad Men.
How about we make it easier? Go to AfterBuzzTV.com, find the Mad Men thing, and that'll take you through
Will it take you
iTunes.
right there?
It will take
Nice.
you right there.
Okay.
We'll make it
Well, let's
easy.
do it that way.
That's nice. And then rate and comment us. I didn't even know that, Phil.
Yeah,
All right, very good. Rate and comment us. I know someone last week was
Yeah.
upset that we didn't call to the
The
drawing
whale
of the
issue.
whale, and we didn't make the reference to Moby Dick. I had thought of Moby Dick, and
Well, I did too, but I still don't really. I didn't really buy the reference anyway, because who's Ishmael and who's obsessed? I mean, there were so many things that didn't really work in terms of
Well,
the metaphor. So I was
I
like,
guess these guys are all in a sense obsessed with getting what they can't get, John.
yeah, but
what
I mean,
they
they're
can't
not
achieve,
obsessed.
and
though.
it's-
They're not obsessed like the cat.
I mean, because there are a couple of moments
Yeah.
even tonight with which we'll talk about the conversation between Joan and him about what they're all searching for and things
yeah,
like that.
I know,
so,
but I just didn't think the metaphor didn't hold up for me.
and I didn't understand why I don't know, was the whale smiling? I don't feel like the
Whale was
whale,
smiling, yeah.
and I don't feel like the whale in Moby Dick
No.
was happy to be stabbed
Yeah.
at. It's just,
But
so-
you know, who knows? Maybe I mean, I would love to hear more about that. As somebody who thought that it represented Moby Dick, what was their thought on whose white whale is it that they're
Anyway.
talking about? Anyway, so but we appreciate those comments because we want to know more.
please,
So,
and if you have
Do we
friends,
talk? Do we talk about the what do you call them? Trolls. Trolls.
troll?
Do we want to talk about the
no,
trolls?
don't,
All
no,
right.
never empower trolls. We do have trolls. Everyone has them. It's rival podcasts and things like that. But for most of our fans out there, we're really pleased with the rating, and like I said, we just love more of the positive or even the constructive criticism, because we'll
Yeah.
keep working on it. But the other thing you can do is tell a friend or family member about AfterBuzz. That would help us immensely. So rate and comment, buy Amazon through our website, and by all means tell friends to buy there as well, but tell friends about AfterBuzz.
I'm going to tell you a cool thing. You know who Kevin's going to tell?
What's
He's going
that?
to tell Dr. Drew, who is a huge fan of Mad Men.
Oh, that's nice.
So he's
That's
gonna
right,
get-
you have a direct connection. You know the gentleman, don't you?
Yeah, I know him.
Yeah.
I know him and his
So
wife.
we-
Hopefully, we'll get him in the studio. Then.
So we're going to do our part too to tell friends.
Nice.
Right.
So.
I'd like to
That'd
get
be
his
terrific.
take on what Lane's behavior is doing at the moment.
Yeah. So I love the Jag. I thought the Jag looked great. Didn't you think it looked good?
What, the red one?
Yeah, it looked
Yeah.
great, man.
And of course, that color red.
There
That's
it
what we've
is
been
again.
seeing.
They keep throwing
I have
it
a-
in.
I have a friend who owns that
And
some
then it's the
model.
same. It's like the other what they have, the red car in the drawing. Was it 2 episodes?
It was
ago?
the red
Last episode, wasn't
yeah, the Riviera or
I know,
Tornado.
but,
Yeah,
Tornado,
Tornado,
exactly.
yeah.
Look, I mean, I don't know how many different shades of red they were doing, but it looked very, very
Very
similar.
similar.
They're keeping that red real close, week to week to week. It's saying that,
And it's interesting, John, great pickup, because the red Tornado, the American
Yeah.
cars were good cars until about the mid-'70s, and they
Yeah.
were shit until about
Yeah.
the mid-'90s. But back then, that was a solid muscle car.
Exactly.
And
that's the
future
kind
built,
of-
but
yeah.
solid. But now it's interesting, the juxtaposition of dealing with a Jaguar that
Yeah.
is just looks great, but is a piece of crap. So yeah, that's a good pickup on your part.
So, but looked great. And then I thought, it was a little clever ploy between. Well, first of all, it was great that Dawn got to see Joan go nuts. I thought it was great that I thought the reception scene was fabulous.
Can I just say I'm so glad because that receptionist is driving me nuts.
I know,
She is
yeah,
so
exactly.
stupid.
But
So-
she's also, you know what she also is, though?
Yeah.
She's also the receptionist of tomorrow,
Yes.
of the
Right.
future. She's the
You're
young
right.
generation.
Yeah.
How much back talk?
Yeah.
You can't talk to me
Yeah,
like that.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. It's interesting that
It's the beginning. It's the
Yes.
crack in the foundation of the transition that we keep talking about.
Mm.
The 60s is bringing us up, in the mid to late 60s
Right.
brings us up to today.
Yeah.
Of like, no, that's you can't.
And also, I thought it was another just cute little metaphor. She was cute. She was presentable, but really nothing else, nothing behind that. Just like the cars looks great, but nothing really, that
you
doesn't
also-
really have it where it needs it.
What I also found today, like in Don's speech at the end, he's saying, last year we were fighting basically for this company, for the lifeline of this company. Now they're fighting for their own kind of lives and their spiritual,
Well, yeah. 'cause
Being.
yeah.
and
That was running theme in this one, too.
and so obviously.
Well, again, they're all searching for something.
They're all searching for something because
Then
what
other
they
than-
have is not enough.
Right.
Because ultimately they're not enough in their own mind. So we see that in the internal being shown in the external.
Well, how great is it when he says, I drove the Jaguar, but I felt nothing, and
Yeah.
Joan says, it's because you're happy you don't need it.
Yeah.
And of course,
He's not.
no, not at all. And I'm surprised at her because she's so astute, John.
Yeah. But she also believes.
But is she off now, right now? Or is her game off?
I think she's off, but I also think she just believes this. She wants to believe in that scenario, that fantasy. Oh, he found her. She's perfect.
But she's so razor sharp, you guys, about life.
Yeah, I know. But I think you said it. She's off, and she wants to believe rather than believing in the reality of it. She at least have something out there because my life is crappy now because my husband's gone, divorcing me, etc. At least one thing. Have one thing work out. That's what I'm thinking she was going to.
Yeah, but I tend to think it's because she's got Don in a category and she hasn't seen beyond that. Because remember, she said, was it a couple episodes ago, that he always marries, that she's going to be another actress, unemployed actress, that's Don's type.
Right.
So she already kind of made it.
It's interesting, though, later in the conversation,
Yeah.
a few more drinks go down, and she says, you should have kept Megan in reception.
Yeah. But I think she thinks there's a certain woman that Don will marry, and Megan fits into that.
Sure.
So that's what I think is part of her perception that, well, he should be happy because that's the sort of woman he always wants. He doesn't want beyond that, so he wants a particular type of woman. That's what I think when you're saying that she doesn't perceive that he's not happy. I think that she's got him in a kind of category and they're supposed to be happy because that sort of fits. They fit. Yeah.
Wasn't it great to see him actually be a friend to her and not hit on her?
That was terrific. But there was still a lot of tension, a lot of sexual tension going on. That was great. But I love that scene. That was terrific. Those two scenes, I should say, in the bar. They were great. I was like, geez, now let's have more of these. They were wonderful.
Especially when he tipped his hat. And
oh
walked
man,
off.
all of it. It was like, it's like, you could see them, God,
Well, that's when it became less sexual because she told him to take the hat off.
Yeah.
And he did.
Yeah.
So and remember, it was supposed to be he and Megan going to Jaguar, and then those two end up, and it's like when you see them walk into the dealership, it says, you say, "Geez, is this really the couple that's supposed to be together?"
That's what I was saying. I'm thinking, if things had been slightly different, this could have been.
You know what's weird? I mean, they've kind of been doing. They've been testing out Don with various women.
Yeah.
We've seen him with Betty.
Yeah.
We've seen him with Megan.
Sure.
We've seen him now with Peggy a little bit.
Right.
That didn't quite work out in the pitch. These two were certainly great as playing with a couple. We've
How
got
would
four,
that?
4 of us total.
What a power couple that would be. That would be interesting.
Right.
Very interesting. Loved them in the bar. I mean, there was so much going on there. The whole.
And I thought, you guys were talking about the friendship thing, with Don, and I thought the most astute thing that he said was, people don't realize how hard divorce is, how it's a good thing.
What point you have to get to.
That you can go through this, and you know what, it's actually good to just end it.
Yeah, and to move on.
Move on,
of course. And she, of course, doesn't think she has anything to move on to because she has a kid.
But
back then,
Yeah, that was a big deal.
Please.
Oh, yeah, she divorced with a kid.
But we should also talk about the scene that she did with Roger as well. So
because
Roger celebrating Pearl Harbor Day.
Yeah.
How fantastic!
I know. That was
Once
great.
again, his red shirt. But his most interesting line, all the laughing aside, was the Japs didn't know what to do. They'd won, but they didn't know what to do.
Exactly.
And is that not the case of everyone in this? They're winning and they don't know what to do with it.
They don't have a strategy for success after they won.
After they've won.
Now what?
But I felt like he sort of was with Joan. He was sort of acknowledging their child for the. I mean,
that was a big
the first time.
Yep.
Yeah,
Clearly
it was
a big
huge,
moment.
Yeah,
And very poignant to say we made, and she
made
paused
him-
for a second because it wasn't
It was
the
real
usual
emotion. It was
shallow Roger. And now is that
made a
LSD?
life.
Is that from the LSD trip?
Well, he said, I've had this event. He mentioned it. So, and she said, yeah. But she's not having anything of it. But I think that's part of it. I certainly think that's part of what he's doing. Because of that, he's acknowledging that, which is interesting.
And she doesn't want his money.
No. In fact, he's been giving it to her and she's been sending it back.
Yeah. So
Come on, Joan, really?
Well, is it more like she doesn't want his love at the end of the day? Because he basically, that's what he offered her.
Yeah.
To some extent, and she says no. Why don't you go be with the other women?
Yeah, the next lucky
Well,
woman.
I don't
Next
think
one.
she feels it's love.
Yes,
That's
I
the
don't-
thing.
yeah.
She's probably saying like, I feel like a whore taking the money.
Right,
Like,
because she doesn't think Roger's changed. She doesn't think whatever event he's been through, the LSD, I don't think she thinks it's a legit or real or going to cause any long-lasting change in him. I think she sees him for what he was, and that's how she's going to keep him.
And what was that? That
Much
was
like
a
she
pretty
saw Dawn.
catty line about, you're lucky if you'll be a family friend to his child, which is pretty sort of mean. Like, basically, I don't want you in his life at all.
Right.
Don't want your money, don't want you in his life. Basically, I don't want anything to do with you in that regard, which...
Yep. Wow. Brutal.
And then that was the line also that Roger said, was it then when he said,
Yeah.
but how many times have I seen you have from other men, and I've walked. He sort
Yeah.
of said something about walking.
Yeah,
You've
how
gotten
many-
cards from other men.
How many have I left
So
you
there's
alone
that
with,
sort
man?
of that
Probably none of
longing
that.
still that he obviously still has a lot of feelings for her.
Oh, yeah.
But she's
Yep.
just not. She's just blocking
You know what? It goes
out.
back to that scene when at the award
Yeah.
ceremony last season,
Yeah.
where she had to hold both their hands under the table.
Mm.
You know, both of them. They both have some kind of feelings for her.
Yeah.
You know, that she's that special of a lady.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think Roger's feelings for her are legitimate too. It's not just
Yeah, oh, yeah.
sexual
Yeah, I
or
think so.
conquest or anything
Nope.
like that. I think he really, really likes her.
No,
So more than he wants to admit, and certainly would admit.
definitely.
Yeah.
We got to bring up Ali Khan.
Okay. All right.
Catherine can speak to this because
All
she
right.
actually got
Yeah,
it right.
So the line from Don was.
Hey, I
Yeah.
love. I know my Hollywood
Thought
history.
they're acknowledging that when he first started working there, Joan used to get flowers from every day or a lot of flowers, and he thought she was dating Ali Khan. Take it away.
And Ali Khan was married to a very beautiful bombshell, Rita Hayworth.
Mm-hmm.
And, he was like Grace Kelly married royalty, this was Rita Hayworth married Ali Khan. He's one of these gorgeous kind of Playboy, international
Yeah.
Playboy types,
Well,
So,
in Pakistan.
yeah, he eventually became a representative for the UN.
Yeah.
So
but
he had
obviously
some-
a womanizer,
something.
and
Yeah.
that was the
Known
reference.
for lavishing
Yes.
flowers and gifts on his female
Yes.
pursuits, shall we say.
So that was the compliment, basically, that Joan was good enough to,
for that.
like a movie star, to get Ali Khan.
And she said, my mother bred me to be admired. I thought was a very...
Yes.
Wow.
How do you
Well,
get bred to be admired?
I don't know. Or raised to be admired, I think is what you said. But
I
even
think-
still.
Is that position?
I take that in a negative way.
Yeah.
Well, I think she took it in a negative way,
Right.
too.
Like that, the mother just
You just an
taught her how to
object.
make people like you. Yes,
Yeah.
just
Exactly.
that's right.
And Joan went so far the other way because if of all of them, even though she's got the statuesque thing going on, she really has, got her stuff together. She knows how to
Right.
run a company. She can do, all these things which have nothing to do with the way she looks or being admired for that.
Right.
So clearly wanted to rebel against that kind of upbringing, and it done marvelously well doing so. So.
Please, can we discuss Kinsey and Crane now?
Well,
Before
we still got a little bit.
Please.
Krishna,
But we got to go through the
Krishna.
Don Megan thing.
Oh
Because
my God,
that
you're
has
right,
to do
sorry.
with the Jaguar. Because
Well, one last thing about
Go
this
ahead.
kid of Jones.
Yeah.
He's going to have a lot to look forward to, such as video games.
it is okay.
It's a great time ahead of him.
No, not really. He's gonna have
he's a
like
little too
Atari.
old.
He's gonna have like
Yeah,
a
he's gonna
crappy.
be a little
Pong.
old.
Yeah, he's gonna be playing Pong.
He's gonna be
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
Yeah, no.
All right,
But
well-
his kids.
But his
Yes.
kids
His
can
kids
look
are gonna
forward to
totally
kids.
win. Yep.
his kids can look forward to Gamefly.com.
Got it.
Yep.
Which is, for those of you who don't know, it's the Netflix of video gaming. So if you're a kid and you like video games, or if you're a parent and hate spending so much money on video games for your kids, check out Gamefly. Now the cool part is, if you type in gamefly.com/AfterBuzzTV, you get a 15-day free subscription, and try it out, see how you like it, and if you like it, continue on it. If you don't, cancel anytime. So that's gamefly.com/AfterBuzzTV. Over 80,000 games on PlayStation, Wii, Xbox. What a day we're living in.
Geez, if all things go right with all these commercials, we might even be in the black this month.
Probably not.
Sorry. Okay. I'm just throwing it out there, maybe. Okay. So Don and Megan here. This,
Right.
man, there was a lot going on there. First of all, I thought, so he takes Joan out because obviously she got served with divorce papers and she's throwing airplane models around the office. He's trying to calm her down. They do the whole jag
It's
thing.
interesting
They're
too.
at the bar.
It's the plane, and
Yeah.
and earlier on, the
Yeah,
banker had said to
Yeah.
Lane, I'm gonna drive down to Florida.
I thought we were gonna fly,
Yeah, I want
but-
to fly,
Fly.
but we're gonna drive.
Yeah.
And so it ties to the cars and just everything. It's we know as filmmakers, you guys, it's really hard to tie all the stuff together in one film, let
It
alone
is.
every week.
Yeah.
Rather genius.
And it was the whole thing about the open. We're talking about the open road of America, and also, that's when we really started loving our cars. Was after World War II in the late 50s, 60s.
Right.
So we
Freeways
really started
and-
loving the cars. So that's how that. So they're tying all that in as well. That's great. So, had things been different, Don would have slept with Joan, right?
Right.
And didn't,
No.
which I thought was that's kept it. I mean, very mature.
Is it
like, they
okay?
both
Is it
knew
because
that
he
could've been-
respects her so much?
I think so.
Because he's grown, or he's completely desensitized. What is it?
No, I think that's why he's sort of going.
Yeah.
That's why he kind of left, because I think too.
Yeah.
I think you could almost see it heading that direction.
And normally he would have stayed.
But I think he was being the gentleman and said,
Yeah.
"It's time to go."
I think it's because he respects him, because I think he's trying to do things differently.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting.
You're right, and we know by the next scene.
Yeah.
When he addresses the troops.
Yeah. So we know that things are different. So anyway, he goes home, and of course, Megan, the classic
With the
scene.
plain spaghetti, nothing on it.
Well, I
By the
mean,
way, there's red all over the apartment. Again, that
yeah.
indication something's wrong, but yet no tomato sauce.
No, exactly.
Well, you would have thought again, that's why these guys are great. The obvious move would have been to put
yeah.
and no.
Yeah.
And so, and creating one of the easiest dishes.
to clean up.
Boiled pasta, nothing on it.
Well,
Loved it.
maybe I thought maybe I saw little flecks of parsley.
Maybe there was
Little green-
maybe there was a subtle cream
Exactly.
sauce
I
that
don't
we
know what it
just
was.
couldn't pick.
So she's been waiting up for him all night.
The modern housewife.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
and we just went through the whole
minimal-
thing about her. Exactly.
minimal effort.
That's
Yes.
right. So not and that's it. Just pasta. Nothing else.
Nothing.
And not back then it wasn't even pasta. It was spaghetti.
Spaghetti,
It's not
yes.
pasta. It's spaghetti.
Yeah.
So and the big fight, and I just and of course he takes it like she's trying to seduce him.
Right.
Because the last time we saw her angry is when she did it
Yeah.
on purpose.
Yeah. He
You
sort
know,
of
she
takes
did
that
that
as
to
a
get him
come
all
on.
excited.
No, now sit and eat
Eat.
with me.
Exactly.
But do you think she's also feeling, because she knew that he'd left at lunchtime. Now, I don't know if he called her to say she was leaving, but I thought
Yeah.
that was interesting that she checked when he had left the
Oh, yeah,
office.
she
Is
knew.
she starting to feel now less, not control, but she knew what was going on more in his life when
Yeah,
she was
less
in the
secure,
office?
certainly.
Now she's at home
Yeah.
waiting for him to come home from work when they used to go home from work together.
Well, she also, this is after their kind of mini fight about acting versus advertising.
Exactly. Rampant
Yeah.
consumerism, and hey,
Yeah.
if anybody has learned what is it, hate advertising, or what did he say? You hate.
Because he's obviously not enjoying her world of theatre. And I think we should note that. I mean,
Yeah, and she
his face through that whole production was like, they're sitting in the seats.
Well,
yeah.
I'm with Don. I think he called it for what it was, just
Yeah.
pretentious crap. And he was
This
like,
was off Broadway theater, Kevin.
and he was saying
Probably
how
off.
he's like, yeah, and that's okay. So
Yeah.
he spelled out what the play was.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, it didn't take a rocket scientist to
Yeah.
create that or to figure it out. And he said, and advertising, people buy things, it makes them happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And
what
she
was
was
the
like, well,
comment-
actually, no, the play was about rampant consumerism, which is speaking to her dad. That's her dad's storyline.
Right.
That's what he was talking about a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
So she's got that party line in her head as well. So we can see that. And the other thing I thought was interesting is that, his line was, no one took a stronger stand against advertising than you.
Yeah.
So we saw it, started this esoteric, theoretical discussion about consumerism advertising, and then went right down to the personal rather quickly. So, because he's still pissed that she's left for this.
Right.
And that theater, that experimental theater, you could just see him hating that.
But for her, if she got as a struggling actress, something like that is fascinating to her, and she would have loved a role in anything at that level. So, that's why I'm saying that their worlds are just not meshing at all now.
Not at all. Because they're not even. What do they have to share?
No, and I think what she doesn't want is to be just one of Dawn's women,
Yeah.
Right.
which is him drinking late at the office
Yeah.
and doing God knows what.
Because she knows that.
Yeah, and I think that insecurity is now because she knows
Yeah,
his history. Now
exactly.
she's got
That's-
more
yeah.
reason to suspect what's going on, but
She's not
nothing
keeping
yet.
tabs on him.
Nothing yet, but it's harder to keep tabs on him now. And when your husband starts coming home late, drunk, you're not going to be too happy.
But I mean, just going back to the Joan thing, how speaking of them as an awesome couple, right? Don and Megan were an awesome couple at work.
At
he was
work,
finally,
yeah.
he was finally, right? He was always kind of going
Things
to
were
her
clicking.
like,
Yeah.
oh, you know what? Fine, Megan.
Yeah,
will
Megan
figure it
will
out.
Yeah,
Amazing.
they were a great
Did it-
couple.
Yeah,
like
we did.
work-wise.
We did the pitch together. We got the
Yeah.
Heinz thing. Blah 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 blah. She, when they were at the restaurant, and she set them up so beautifully. Everything's firing on all pistons, and then she walks away.
Yeah.
It's gonna make his life a lot easier. Now it just makes it crap. At least at work, anyway. This is what I think. Is
But she inspired him to that point of he came in like a field general. He came in the next day to Jaguar and said, I wrote down we're gonna take a leap forward, and we're gonna swim the English Channel and drown in champagne. So once again, there's that juxtaposition
Yeah, exactly.
of like we're gonna drown in riches, which is not a good thing to be drowning, but we're gonna swim the English Channel.
Yeah.
Which ties back to everything that's been going on.
But for me, it wasn't like the it wasn't like the season 1 pitch from the carousel, like where things really slowed down and you took in every word.
Yeah.
This was okay. He said the words, but I didn't quite have the emotion.
You don't
from
think
him.
it was the Mark Zuckerberg moment after in Social Network, or the character of Mark in Social Network after he saw the old girlfriend out and he came home and said, "We're going to do this and we're going to do that." I mean, they all applauded. They're all ready to work through Christmas.
Yeah, they all bought into it. But I think I like the point is that it wasn't up to his usual standards, but because it's been vacant for so long, the vacuum that was created by his absence. Did you see how excited Pete was?
Yeah,
he was all giddy.
And I think to John, you mentioned this a few times, but I think Kevin, you might have too. This is more about being away from home than about him loving the work.
Right.
And and that's what worries me.
Yeah.
That's going to be
He's
a big
putting
conflict.
new focus into work now because he doesn't want to be at home as much
Exactly.
now.
But
So it's the lesser of two evils, more so
now
than happiness.
he spends all his holidays at work.
Okay, well,
Is also one last thing, guys?
Sure.
Is it to be away from work, or is it is to make Megan love him? Because Megan said, is it to prove Megan wrong? That Megan said, you're not into your work anymore because of me. Well, no, I am here. Look, I am into my work.
Well, it's interesting because let's go back. He did the whole pitch with the what was it where he didn't take Ginsburg's stuff in, the devil, the snowball.
Snowball.
So he was making efforts there to do some work, but didn't like the competition or didn't like Ginsburg getting any kind of thing out of it. But and it did well enough where they got the account. And he's like I don't think he just hasn't found his footing. Because it's like he's doing the start, stop. I'm halfway in, I'm halfway out. I go to the office on Saturday, but I really don't do anything.
Right.
I talk nonsense into a dictaphone.
But maybe Jaguar is going to be his focus. I think he's kind of,
Well,
maybe that will be the thing that he's going to really
But as to why, I mean, I really don't know. That was the point for me.
I think it's kind of that classic case of something he was probably thinking that, when someone articulates it, and she articulated it where you used to love your work, why you don't now. And I think it just made him think.
Yeah.
Well, I'm getting a signal from the booth. We got to move on to topic 4.
Let's move on then.
No, I think we have to go to commercial, right? Or
We
no?
have no, I think we're done with the commercial.
All right.
We got to do our Krishna thing. And then
Well, I'm dying to talk about
let's
that.
do it. We got-
Krishna,
So, yeah. So, Crane, yeah.
I can't get that song.
Old friend wants to meet with him.
Well, even Crane, it opens with the old TV and it's
Yeah.
just playing snow. And this ties to what's going on with Megan. They were talking about TV and her little play.
Yeah.
And we know, how many people believe that the boob tube, it was the beginning,
Right.
once again, the beginning of the end. And the whole talk between Crane and Lane, you hear about Bewitched, we hear about Star Trek, we hear about...
which only lasted 3 seasons.
Right.
References that.
And it was, he's like, if it's around one more year, which of course, it ended up making it 3 years. That was the
3
first
years,
year.
Yeah,
So
it just made
But
3
then
years. Yeah.
started the franchise.
Yes,
Right.
it became a...
so very ironic because who knows if they're not indicating that Lane, that Kinsey's onto something down the road. But for the time being, of course, he's a Krishna. And remember, the Krishna movement, I remember in the early 70s was so big.
Yeah.
I never see them anymore. Are they around anymore?
Oh, yeah. Sure. Not
as much.
Yeah, you don't usually see them in airports as much as you used to, but yeah.
Yeah, but I think it sort of represented that whole kind of... we're at a crisis point in the mid-60s. People are kind of confused, and now they're looking for,
Searching for
like the
something
Beatles
else.
did.
Yeah.
With the Beatles,
Hare
like
Krishna,
a whole,
Hare Rama.
the whole thing of, let's find this Indian, a spirituality
Well, yeah.
outside of what we normally
Not
do.
satisfied with the old answers or the
Yeah.
answers that weren't provided by other religions. Like, you have questions and they say, don't ask. I mean, remember that, Kevin? I don't know if you got that when you were a kid, but when I grew up Catholic, if I had questions, and I had questions that the priest didn't want me to know about or ask about, he would just say, don't ask.
Yep. Nope. Because you're supposed to have faith.
Just have faith. Yeah, just shut up.
Just shut up.
Yeah,
Such a lovely time.
Exactly. So not satisfied with that. Just like everybody else was restless, looking for more, looking for something different, looking for new answers. He's looking for something at the Krishnas.
Yeah.
So and Crane just goes there to see his friend. Really, he doesn't really want
he has to.
Because exactly.
Yeah, he's been threatening to come by.
Exactly.
He needs to just
Yeah,
meet for coffee.
geez. Exactly. I don't want to meet for lunch. I'll do coffee. And then goes. And then as soon as he gets it, boy, I love I thought his buddy Kinsey did a great job as a Krishna. When he first started out, he was so happy.
He's
believed him.
actually a friend of ours. We know him, and John knows him. Beth Bears, who worked at AFTERBUZZ, but also starred in our film, starred of Two Broke Girls.
Yeah.
Geez, I don't even know I'm supposed to say that.
Well, they know each other.
They know
So
each other. They're
yeah.
friends. But
Yeah,
anyway,
friends.
he's a great guy, and
Yeah.
he's a fantastic actor.
He's
and
terrific.
It was nice to see him back. And,
Yeah.
you know, do you notice him in the yellow?
Yeah.
And I felt like that was a tie to Cooper's line about, you know, Jaguars being lemons. They
Yeah,
never start.
exactly.
And, you know, poor
And he's
Kinsey
stuck.
is a lemon.
Yeah,
you
he's
know?
a lemon.
I mean,
Clearly, he's a lemon at the advertising. He's a lemon at
he's
the
a lemon
Krishna,
at writing.
and
He's a lemon at writing.
Exactly.
But, you know, it was funny. The way that Dawn took the high road with Joan, it
Right.
was nice to see, I think, Crane take the high road with him at the end.
You think it was a high road?
I mean, he didn't have to give him money. He didn't, you know.
I think he was
That's
just
true.
trying to get back at what that
So
woman
you okay?
did.
No, this is interesting.
Interesting,
Though.
that's it.
So you thought he was trying to get
Yeah,
back at the woman.
thought-
and because you're
Back
more
at her.
intelligent than me, you're probably right.
No, I think he was so offended. No, I think he was just. I mean, what Lakshmi. I mean, she showed her true colors, and the fact
More
that
than that,
she's
she showed
she's
more than
vicious,
colors.
but also because she's just as manipulative.
Yeah.
Because and the only reason she wants him in Hare Krishna is because remember she says
a great recruiter.
He's a great recruiter.
He
So
closes.
that's bottom line. It's always
Yeah.
about that. It wasn't about his spirituality. It wasn't. It was
Yeah.
just he's a great recruiter. He's going to close. That's all she wanted him for. And I think she
Agreed.
And that's
Right.
what I think he saw through. He said, "I got to get my friend out of this."
Well,
that's what I said.
that's friendship.
yeah,
That's what I'm
what
saying.
I think it was too.
That's being a
Yeah.
good
For
friend
me-
saying,
Yeah.
"Oh my God, this guy is
Yeah.
Yeah.
screwed,
Yeah.
and I've got to get him out." And for this
Yeah.
character, who's kind of, you know, he just seems like he's existing.
Yeah.
The most out of all of them. For him to step up, $500 is
Yeah.
a lot of money for
Back
him.
then, absolutely.
Yeah.
And for him to say, "And you have to leave now," because he
Yeah.
knew she would talk. I
She
thought
would
that
talk
was
him out of
taking
it.
the high ground. I thought
Well,
rather than
I thought
it seems like everyone else, so we don't talk over each other. It just
Yeah.
seems everyone else on a show like this
Right.
has all their ends and their goals, and everyone seems so
Right.
Machiavellian. And for him to just do that out of friendship's sake reminded me of what happened between Joan and Dawn too.
Yeah.
But I don't think. But just going back to my first point, I think it was out of friendship, but I also think there was an ego thing there. Is like he doesn't want her to beat him. Like this thing of like you stay
Yeah.
away from him. I still think it's kind of getting back at what.
Yeah, I thought that
What
it was
that
just,
experience, what he had.
I thought it was
yeah,
both. I thought it just so
both,
happened.
yeah.
I think he really wanted. You know, here's everybody talking about. Look, if you're really a friend, tell him the truth, and he should have. And he
Peggy
but-
says that.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
And even Lakshmi says that.
That's right.
Tell him the truth. It always works. And he doesn't tell him the truth, but he really did help because
Well, he doesn't
that-
say
that-
the truth because it actually, by saying the truth, it actually helps Lakshmi's point.
That's
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. He's looking at it. Yeah, I didn't tell him the truth, but I probably did a better thing for him because being there, the way he was and why he was there was not the right thing for him.
But is telling the truth such a good idea sometimes in that instance? Because that would have crushed him. He would have thought he had no ability. And let's face it, some
and who
people,
knows?
people, every person can be a critic.
That's right.
He might have had. If
And,
he doesn't
you know,
believe he has any talent.
One script. It doesn't matter. I mean,
But if he thinks he does have some talent, he might keep
Well,
writing.
yeah.
Well,
I mean-
doesn't Dawn say advertising is what? Giving people what they want,
they
right?
want.
Yeah,
And so he gave him what he wanted. Like, nope,
what-
you're a great writer.
That's right.
You're
Yeah.
amazing.
That's what
But
he does.
that's going to give him confidence, and okay, he might fail at it, but then he might have
But
the confidence
he'll
to keep
fail
going.
in California away
Away
from,
from-
these people who are doing him more damage in Crane's
Yeah.
eyes.
Right.
Yeah.
And not that I disagree because I don't, but that's why I was thinking. I think it would happen to be both. At the end there, when he said, "Here's the $500, but you can't talk to her because she'll just talk you out of blah 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 blah." I think he just really look. I like this guy even though it didn't work out, and he's talking to Peggy. Why didn't you hire Kinsey? What? I think he's a friend to him. I think he looks at Kinsey as a friend.
But do
And
you
he
think?
didn't-
Sorry,
Go
I was
ahead.
just going. Do you think he will take that money and go? Is that what you inferred from that, or is he going to like go back to?
I think he
Lakshmi.
will. I think the dream is
hope so.
that dream is something that he really wants to follow.
I think he takes the money and goes, and I
Okay.
don't think we see him anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe if
So-
we see him season or two later, he's up to something in LA.
Yeah.
And some kind of irony. And I always get into the inside.
Yeah.
Generally when you see guys like that are written off and brought back, it's because the producers really like them.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they really like him a lot.
Yeah,
and just
he does such a good
conversely,
job.
when you see people you
Yeah.
don't see them again, it's
Wasn't-
because they're not liked.
Yeah, yeah. And I thought this the first few scenes with him in the crowd. He was so happy to be there. I thought, God, he's a convert for sure. Because he was just so happy. And then the next thing, oh man, I can't take it. I thought,
He was just
"Nice
in love with the
job."
girl.
But
Yeah,
for the
just love
girl,
the girl.
that was all he was there
I go,
for.
that's bad. That's just bad for him. But
It's just interesting. Some of the lines. This seems like it's happening to someone else.
yeah,
You know.
yeah,
So it's like, and that's kind of what everyone is going through.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I felt bad for him.
Yeah, poor Kinsey.
Yeah. Well, I did because no matter what he does, it looks pretty bleak.
But writing wise, I buy it because of what he was like earlier on in other seasons.
Okay.
He had the black girlfriend. He was living down in I forget the part of with all the beatniks. I mean, he was just always kind of searching.
Yeah. Well, they all are in this. So,
but before anyone.
Yeah.
When everyone was before anyone was into that, he was the one. Because you remember the beatniks preceded the hippies.
Clearly, yeah.
Now we're getting hippies, but this was he was. So it's great character development and patience by Matt Weiner.
Anything you want to say about the scene in the office with Lakshmi and Crane? That was rather bold.
My goodness. Well,
she really took one for the team.
Yeah, she did. And then I just love the way she just slapped him.
Well, but what did he say? To make the slap, that was what was interesting.
What was it
she said, "This is all I have to barter with."
That's right. It's all I have to trade. Yeah, go ahead.
Trade, and he said, "Yeah, but you
gave it away for free."
Yeah, you gave it away, and then bang.
Yeah.
In other words, it should have been like she should have made the deal. Then my end is I'll do this, your end you do that.
Yeah.
And I guess being a druggie and a prostitute she's not a great deal maker.
Yeah, probably not.
But
all right. Well, is there anything else we want to get to before we get to our break? Any other thoughts? Last minutes? Okay. All right.
Should we just do predictions? Just go right into
predicting?
Right? I mean, that's all we got left.
Yeah, I think we're running out of time. So we have Celeb Apprentice, I think, coming in now.
Yeah. Okay.
I think so, right?
Yes.
Right.
Nice little plug for our Celebrity Apprentice season finale.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
So if you're watching live, or if you're not watching live, hey, check it out. You might like it. There's business in
Predictions.
there.
I'm wondering if, and this is crazy, I wonder if Pearl Harbor Day isn't symbolic of something that's going to happen.
Wow.
At the end of the season.
Interesting.
I wonder if we're going to experience a Pearl Harbor at the end of this.
Well, I think
at the end of the season.
In terms of what's happening, I think Lane's going to come to a head with something.
He's going to be found out.
Yeah.
He forged a check for crying out. We forgot to talk about that. He forged a check. It's embezzlement. Fraud or whatever. I can't remember. I don't know what legal term.
And it's so sad because he probably could have gone to one of the partners.
He just said, "Hey, look, can I take it in advance?" But no, the pride, the whole thing, the hubris.
And you should have just talked to Roger.
Probably
had a nice wallet.
Roger would have had some spare cash.
That's right.
Well, yeah.
Forged a check. You know that's going to come back, and it's Dawn's name he used. So.
Yeah.
Eesh, that's not looking good.
No, not.
So,
and did they get the $50,000 advance? I even wonder that. I don't know. Something tells me I don't even know. Like I don't even know.
I think they did.
They
I think
have to pay
that
back, right? I mean,
yeah, they gotta pay
he's
that.
making it out that they just got it, but they don't realize that they have to.
That's
pay
true,
it back.
but he's gonna. That's what I'm saying. He's gonna have to rob from somewhere else to pay that.
And then they
back.
lost Mohawk.
Yeah, they lost Mohawk. So, and they're not even sure they're gonna get Jaguar.
No.
Yeah, so they're in a
So
very
that's an
precarious.
if. Yeah, he's tenuous.
That poor man's got so many wrinkles from frowning his face of like, Mohawk and all these things.
Just what I thought. I loved how they'd say, okay, so we'll do bonuses, and then something would happen. Okay, so the bonus. No, we need the bonuses.
I love that. Yeah. My prediction is this is going to be the last season with Lane.
Yeah, he's gonna have a stroke. The guy's gonna have a heart attack or something.
I think this could be it. I think this could be the last
All right,
season
any
with
other
him.
predictions?
Well,
Last season for Lane. Okay.
It's been the journey of Don becoming Don again, and I think him and Megan are gonna clash heads. And
do you think he and Joan will get together?
No, I think something with Betty is gonna be. I'm not gonna like it, but Betty's coming back into play somehow. I don't like it either.
I know
I'm
you
just
No,
saying
very
that.
well could be. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
like
I
that.
never know with the show because the endings are so cryptic.
Yeah.
It was like The Sopranos. You could never predict.
Yeah, you can't.
Why don't we just say a word and that'll be like the teaser, like the Mad Men have.
Okay. You got a word?
Hey, John.
Thank you. Nice. It's Schadenfreude there. That's the word.
Schadenfreude.
Yeah, because that's what it is.
Schadenfreude. Yeah, it really is.
All right. So, well, thank you very much for tuning in, everybody. We will certainly see you next week. So, on behalf of Immersive Movies in the booth, I got Phil Svitek, Keven Undergaro, Katherine Tulich, and this is John Comerford saying, we're out.
And until then, just keep laughing. That's what Bozo used to say.
Bozo
Bozo the
would
Clown.
say?
Yeah, it's the end of his show.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.